Alright, let's start with the first problem. What is f of 2b? So f of 2b means instead of x, we will substitute x equals 2b in the function here. So f of 2b is equal to 5. Instead of x, we're going to substitute 2b raised to the power 2 plus 3. Now make sure the square covers both 2 and b inside the parentheses, and that means 5 times 2 squared, which is 4, and then b squared plus 3, and that's 20 b squared plus 3. Once you multiply the 5 times 4, this would be the final answer. What is the domain of the function? Now this function is real, or the f of x function is real as long as x does not equal to minus 1, because minus 1 plus 1 will make this 0, number over 0 undefined, and also x cannot equal to minus 2 because minus 2 plus 2 is 0, a number over 0 is undefined. So the domain of this function is all set of real numbers except x equals minus 1 or x equals minus 2. We cannot have x cannot equal to minus 1 and x cannot equal to minus 2. That's the domain of the function. Use the graph below to find f of 0. So what is f of 0? F of 0 is the value of y when x equals 0. Right? So x equals 0 is here. What's the value of y? Here's the value of y. Negative 3. So f of 0 is negative 3. Okay? Find the range of the function. Now this function starts here at 0, 1 and is decreasing, and we don't know, like, this curve should be going down. So now we can say that y is less than or equal to 1. That would be the range of the function. So maximum value of y is 1, and the minimum value is all the way down to minus infinity. So y less than or equal to 1 would be the range of the function. What is the domain? Let's say, what if the question was the domain? The domain, as you see, starts at 0 and go all the way to plus infinity. So the domain would be x greater than or equal to 0. Given the function, find the indicated value. What is f of negative 2? Notice that the function for x less than or equal to 0 is this one here. For x greater than 0 is this one here. But since minus 2 is less than 0, we would be using this function. So f of negative 2 is equal to x squared. Make sure you have negative 2 inside the parentheses and square it. Minus 2 times, make sure negative 2 inside the parentheses, plus 1. So this would be negative 2 quantity squared. It's going to square both of them. Negative times negative is positive, and this is 2 times 2, 4. Now we multiply negative 2 times negative 2 again. This is plus 4 plus 1, and that's a 9. So 4 plus 4, 8 plus 1, 9. So f of negative 2, again, we use this function because x is less than 0 or equal to 0. X is negative 2. It is less than 0. And then make sure that you have the parentheses for every negative 2 and simplify. Given the function f of x and g of x, what is fg of x? So fg of x means the multiplication of f times g of x. So we have to multiply these two functions, x squared plus 2x minus 3 times g of x, which is 5 plus x. So a trinomial times a binomial. I'm going to start with x squared times 5 and x squared times x. So 5x squared, x times x squared, we add the exponents. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2x times 5. 2 times 5, 10x. And 2x times x. Again, we add the exponent, 2x squared. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. And negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Now we combine like terms. Now we have x cubed. This is the only term with x cubed, so This will be x cubed here. With x squared we have 5x squared, and we have 2x squared. 5 plus 2, 7x squared. And 10x minus 3x is plus 7x and minus 15. That would be the final answer. We cannot combine any other terms because none of them are like terms. Find an equation of the line through the point 1, 5 that is perpendicular to the line y equals 1/3 x plus 6. Write the equation using the function notation. So this is the given line, y equals 1/3 plus x. This one, the one that we're trying to find, is perpendicular to this line. So right away, the slope of this line is 1/3, right? It comes from y equals mx plus b. Now implies the perpendicular line should have a slope of a negative reciprocal. So we're going to flip this fraction and add a negative number. That would be the slope of the negative line, of the perpendicular line. M equals negative 3. And we have a point. So this line is also crossing the point 1, 5. And let's write the equation in a function notation. Okay, let's go ahead and write this equation. We have a y, that's a 5. The y equals mx plus b. Y is a 5, is given. M is negative 3. X is 1. So let's find b. B is the only unknown. Add 3 to both sides. So b equals 5 plus 3, which is 8. So knowing b and knowing the slope, we're so done, because f of x would be mx plus b. What is m? Negative 3x. And what is b? 8. So this would be the equation of the line in function form, or function notation, which is perpendicular to this line, y equals 1/3 x plus 6. Again, the first thing we need to do, identify the slope of the line, then find the slope of the perpendicular line by finding the negative reciprocal. You can confirm, since the product should be negative 1. So if you multiply those two slopes, you should get negative 1, and that's because negative 3 over 3 is negative 1. And then you use the equation to find b, because you have y from the point 5, and you have x from the given point. You have the slope, you just found the slope, then you can find b. Once you find b, then you go back and write this in a function notation. F of x equals negative 3x plus b, which is again in the form of mx plus b. Determine the solution set to the inequality. Express your answer in set builder notation. So this is an inequality. Let's go ahead and solve. First thing we need to do here is distribute the 2. 2 times 5x, 2 times 8. So that's going to be 10x. 2 times 8, 16. Then we move everything to the, we move the 10x to the left hand side. Subtract 10x from both sides. And move the 10 to the right side, so that way we separate variables. Subtract 10, subtract 10. So all I did here is what we call separate variables. Separate variables. I move the x to the left by subtracting 10x from both sides, and I move the 10 to the right by subtracting 10 from both sides. So these two will cancel. 12x minus 10x is 2x, less than equal. 10x minus 10x will cancel. 16 minus 10 is just 6. Here we go. Divide both sides by 2. X would be less than 6 over 2, 3. Write this in set builder notation. It would be x such that x less than 3. Okay? X such that x is less than 3. Express the interval negative 7 comma negative 3 in set builder notation and graph the interval on the number line. So we want to write the interval in set builder notation. Okay, so we're going to say x such that x, we have x between less than negative 3 because we have parentheses, and greater than or equal to negative 7 because this is a square bracket. So square bracket means negative 7 is part of the solution, while negative 3 with parentheses is not part of the solution. So x such that x, negative 7 less than or equal to x less than negative 3. That would be the interval notation. You want to graph it? Let's go and graph the real number line. So this is plus infinity and this is minus infinity. We have a negative 3 here. This is 0. This is negative 3 and this is negative 7. So negative 7 is a square bracket and negative 3 is a parenthesis, and we're gonna highlight the region in between. So that would be the solution on a real number line, the interval between negative 7 and negative 3. Given the function f of x and g of x, find f minus g of minus 1. So we can also start by finding f minus g of x first, which is equal to f of x, which is x squared plus 2x minus 3, minus g of x, which is 5 plus x. I make sure I put parentheses before them because the minus will cover everybody inside, every term inside the parentheses. So this would be x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now distribute the minus sign. Minus 5 minus x. Let's combine like terms. X squared is the only one with a square. Now we have 2x and we have minus x. 2x minus x is just plus x, 1x. Negative 3, negative 5 is negative 8. Now we can find f minus g of negative 1 by replacing x by negative 1. So negative 1 quantity squared plus negative 1 minus 8. So negative 1 squared is just 1 plus minus 1, they will cancel. These two will cancel because 1 minus 1 is 0. And so the final answer is negative 8. Alright, that's it. Good luck.